Alrighty. Yeah, maybe I'll look into that. I have a jingle actually, but I just need to figure out how to hook it up with OBS so that it triggers. Anyways, we're live. Episode 3, The Grind Mastermind.
Nice. Let's grind it out, man.
How you been the last 2 weeks?
I've been pretty good. Super busy. Lots of stuff that I've been working on. Lots of new stuff. Some experiments.
Should be lots to talk about.
A lot of learning.
Just a quick admin item. We're recording episode 3. Episode 2 will go live on Sunday. So I had a delay last weekend. Episode 1 is already live. Episode 2 will go live this Sunday, and then next Sunday I'll get episode 3 up. Now, if you're watching live right now, you won't have that problem. But anyways, the video and the podcast for episode 2 will be live this upcoming Sunday, and then I'll quickly catch up with episode 3. Cool, man. Well,
Cool.
you want to just jump into to your 10-minute for those of you listening or watching for the first time? Every 2 weeks, Chris and I go live. We each take about 10 minutes, give an update on what we've been doing, kind of like a build-in public type style for the last 2 weeks, and then we set some goals for the next 2 weeks, keep each other accountable, and then we talk about, books, resources, strategies we've picked up on, and hopefully share with you to give you some help. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. Chris, how'd the last 2 weeks go?
Pretty good. So what were my objectives? Let's look into it. So
Pull it up here.
the first one, explore newsletter giveaways and finalize lead management process with BA. All right. So as far as the giveaways, I've actually set everything in motion. I've polled my email list a couple of times. I got a couple of votes because I wanted to first understand what they wanted to receive as a gift, what's most compelling, right? So I gave
Was
them
my
a couple
vote
of
most
options.
popular?
What did you vote? Because it was anonymous.
Oh, right, it was. I voted for books. I mean, I'm a book nerd, right? So
Okay, yeah.
I
think I
voted
got.
for book.
I think that wasn't the main thing. The main thing that people wanted was the one-on-one consultation, which is probably
Interesting.
the one that they perceive as most valuable.
That's a
But,
good sign for you, right? I would
But
imagine.
I've also got a couple of votes for the books, so not the most, but so I think my plan was actually to do both one book, which I'm gonna give this away. I don't know if you can see it. Alchemy by Rory Sutherland.
If they're watching on YouTube, they can see it. If they're listening, then they can't. But yeah, that would be cool to do like one session and one book giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. So basically the value, like one-on-one call, it's typically between 300, 400, depending on whether it's like coaching or consulting, plus the like the $11 of the books of the book. So yeah, the book and the consultation is probably going to be my giveaway. And the goal here is just to have people share the newsletter as much as possible through social media. And I followed your advice. So I set up King Sumo, a tool
Nice.
from the guys at AppSumo, which was just $49 one time, the tool. So it's super simple, super streamlined, and works really well. And you can have people participate, you can see the stats.
And do they allow, I think the reason why I liked it too is that it tracks if somebody shares with their audience and get other people to sign up as well. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
it's all like built in. Because that's, I think, the
Tracks
key of the
everything.
giveaways, right? Is like, you want
Yeah.
people to share. That's how you can get like the exponential growth. Cool.
Exactly. And the nice thing also is that it allows you to, other than just allowing people to share on social media, and you can select different social media networks, it also allows you to add like extra entries. And those extra entries can be like visit this link or subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, and you can decide how many points each entry gives you. So that was really good. I added a couple of things. One was the YouTube sign up. The other one was follow me on Twitter. and I can't remember the other one. So I have a couple set up. So the next step is just to launch it. So next week I'll probably
You write that down.
I'll probably start.
So launch newsletter giveaway.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm gonna announce the prizes on Monday with my daily newsletter, and then probably Tuesday, Wednesday, launch the giveaway.
How long are you gonna make it? Like a week?
I actually have to look into that. I have to see what works best. That's one thing that I didn't go into.
I feel like a week. I feel like a week is probably because you want to find a good balance between like enough time so people have time to share, and not too much time so there's some urgency. I think
You
probably about a week.
also
No,
want to-
5 days,
yeah.
5-7 days. I don't know.
I think you probably also might want to cover all days in a week to cover all different patterns of how people are busy and stuff.
Yeah, I would probably say
So-
either like 7 or 10 days.
So maybe
Um,
from Tuesday to Tuesday or Tuesday to Friday, next week.
Yeah, maybe do some research and
Yeah.
you could let us know on the next episode what you decide. That's exciting though. I'm interested to see how it goes, and then I think what I'll do is I'll talk about this in my segment, but once I get my website updated and everything, I'll probably do something similar with some books or something. So, okay, cool.
Nice, it's gonna be good because I ran 2 more sponsorships in the meantime. So I got another 70-80 subscribers. Still not entirely sure of the quality because I've also been getting a couple of unsubscribes in the past emails. So not all of them might be super qualified, but at the same time, I was able to increase the number, and now I have a bit of a larger pool to run the giveaway to.
Right.
So it went. It was pretty good.
Cool. I would say in that regard, keep an eye on like open and click rates. If open and click rates are like kind of staying the same, that's a good sign. If your list is growing and the open and the click rates are staying the same, you're obviously going to get unsubscribes, right? Anytime you get new subs, especially in batches. So
Yeah.
cool. What about the okay? So your first item. So for the next 2 weeks, you'll launch that newsletter giveaway. Now that you've kind of planned it out, or most of it.
I have one question here for you, my
Mhm.
friend, which was so I've actually announced to the newsletter that the giveaway is going to be for the newsletter, right? For newsletter members, to kind of keep it private. Do you think I should still also publish it, share it online with people who are not subscribed, or would it be kind
I
of
think so.
betraying my audience?
Well, like I don't even. I'm on your email list. I don't even remember you saying it's only for your email subscribers.
Okay.
I think you should definitely share. Well, because number one, part of the giveaway is to have them share it publicly, so it's going to happen anyways.
Well, yeah.
And that's why you're doing it, right? Is to get new subscribers. So I would definitely publish it. I think that the big potential reach you'll get is from current subs sharing, and then hopefully people that they share it to also share, right? That's why the giveaway idea is such a good one, in my opinion, when you set it up like you have, because of the potential exponential growth from the shares. But yeah. I would share it publicly if I were you.
Yeah.
I don't care,
Yeah,
right? So
I'll
think
probably
from my
do.
perspective, right? I'm a subscriber. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want a chance at like getting a book. I don't even want the consultation. No offense, you know. I could talk to you any day of the week. I want a book or two. So, anyways, that's my thoughts.
Makes sense.
I think it's one of those cases where like, you kind of overthink it because it's your business, but when you put yourself in the shoes of the subscriber, like I don't even remember that you said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's something we're all guilty of. Okay, what about finalize lead management process with your VA?
Yeah, so for the VA, I created an email for them, support@Conversion Alchemy. So now she's got an account. We set up all our tools together, shared, and I actually had to simplify. Initially I thought like of having on the website 2 different ways for people to get in touch. One with the Calendly link to book a call, and the other one to email my assistant, but I decided to cut that down, that branch. So now it's still just with a Calendly link. But at the same time, she's able to like keep track of all the leads. So whenever someone books a call, I get the card of the customer creating my CRM automatically. She's able to follow up, so I don't have to remember when I need to follow up on people. Whenever she has a doubt of whether she needs to follow up, she knows that she has to send me an email, so we're on the same page. So for now, it's pretty streamlined and simplified. And also, I have her run kind of like a pre-call research before the first call that I have with clients, so that I kind of know the background. She goes on the LinkedIn page, she researches the company a bit, revenue-wise. So yeah, it's pretty fleshed out, and it's kind of like consider it like a beta version. It's not super comprehensive, but for now it works pretty well.
Cool. I mean, it sounds like all you need for now, and you can adjust from there. We had a note here as well to discuss the automatic clients funnel.
That's something that I've been working on. It's quite comprehensive. Let's just say for now that probably in 2 weeks I will have a much clearer idea, and also something that I can share. But it's basically so one of my goals for the year was to start selling maybe a course, some information product that can help me scale the business, and could be on the side of helping business owners or freelancers. So that's something that I've been working on. But this whole automatic clients model, you can look it up. There's a great Facebook group that's called Nothing Held Back by this guy. Is a direct response marketer, copywriter called Alan Soltanich, and you can add it in the notes after. But basically, the whole model is based on a super small initial offer that's packed with a lot of value. Usually, it's an ebook that costs like $5, and people buy that ebook, and then you lead them through a funnel with some upsells until you sell them a high ticket program.
Right.
The nice thing is that it basically works. It's optimized on economics, they call it, because basically after you optimize the whole funnel, you are sure of breaking even on your ad spend on the same day. So with how the funnel is structured and how you map the products, you basically don't spend anything on ads because you break even.
Right.
And you are able to spend more and more than the competition. And that basically leads you to kind of like this automatic client funnel.
Right.
I'm basically working now. I'm at the stage that I'm outlining the sales page that I'm going to test. So even before building the product, I'm doing this dry testing, which basically is building up the sales page and having people sign up for a wait list for this product, basically just to see, and then running ads to this page, and to see if the product is interesting for people, if I would have some potential buyers, and then build the actual ebook, write the ebook.
Right. Yeah, sounds like the standard kind of like, I think they use tripwire is like one of the terms they use, like as well, like moving the customer along a journey, right?
Yeah.
Low price point, mid price, like they kind of like evolve to your more expensive products as they like you and trust you more. So do you want me to add that as Yep.
Yeah. The main difference is a lot of people have been doing webinar funnels now. So this is basically the main difference. This is like not a webinar. It doesn't try to sell you, to give you a free thing and then sell you like a 500 course.
Mm-hmm.
Basically sells you a super low offer and then gradually upsells you to stuff. You can set for next 2 weeks. I'm probably gonna have a draft of the sales page.
Draft of sales page for funnel. All right. So are those kind of the two key goals? Launch newsletter giveaway, draft sales page for funnel?
Yeah, I'm probably also gonna start exploring not giveaways, the newsletter cross promotions.
I'll write it
If you
down.
want to look into it,
Start exploring.
If you want to look into it, there's a nice tool that I just found out.
What's the tool? We'll add it to the notes.
It's called.
Got to remember that Facebook group and.
It's called lettergrowth.com.
Lettergrowth.com. I also listened to episode 1 and I realized that my keyboard is so goddamn loud. So I apologize to everybody who can hear my. It's either my keyboard's too loud, which I know it is, and or my mic is too sensitive. So I got to play with something there. Anyways. Okay. And that's something, I'm probably like 2 weeks behind you in terms of some of the things you're doing. Like, I want to test a giveaway as well. Just my site's not ready yet. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then cross promos for the newsletter. I think it's a great opportunity too. I want to update my website and make sure my landing page is good. We could do a cross promo too as well if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But give me another week or two. Okay. That it on your end?
Yeah.
Cool. On my end, so from last 2 weeks, reach out to a minimum of 20 leads per day. I hit this, so I'll pat myself on the back a little bit because I think I did a pretty good job. Some days even more. It kind of depends. So from what I've been experiencing is outreach, especially cold outreach, can be much easier or harder depending on like the type of outreach, right? Like some days, if I'm reaching out to a very specific target of people and I have a good list prepped ahead of time, it could be easy to do like 40, 50, 60 in a day, right? Whereas if maybe like I'm testing with like a new user type or segment, getting to the 20 could be tough. But definitely kept up pretty well in the outreach. And it's led to like a good amount of calls. So I think we have a pretty good stream of, calls and demos that have been set up. So it's been pretty good in that regard. This is related to Visto, right?
Do you have an idea of the conversion rate from outreach email to call?
Not really. Part of it is part of it's it's a pain to track, and part of it is like cross-platform. So I spent like probably a week more focused on LinkedIn outreach, and then spend a week on email, and then some both. Like, for example, I might find a company we really want to hit, and they have LinkedIn and email, so I'm doing both at the same time. Or like sometimes I'll find a company with 2 or 3 people, and I'll send them all. So maybe I should do a better job of trying to track it. The other thing, and what we're doing for the next 2 weeks, and so I guess I'll segue this into my, one of my goals is we're putting in place a cold email and potentially cold LinkedIn outreach campaign. And so since that's automated, we'll have much better data on the conversion metrics. So I'll put that down as number 1 is launch cold email campaign. And then I'll put in brackets LinkedIn because I'm not sure if we're going to do it yet. But that will be very helpful for me to have that part automated.
How are you planning on automating that?
So for email, it's pretty straightforward, right? There's a whole bunch of programs you can find. We don't know which.
So would you have like a sequence or something?
Yeah, we're putting together like a 4 to 6 email sequence, cold email sequence, and there's a ton of tools. There's a ton of options online for that. And it's a great way to do cold email outreach, especially if you have a defined target market, right? And you can get those emails, and it's going to be a group of people that probably fit into your target market. And pretty easy, right? Set and forget, and or set, and then on a weekly basis monitor. Like what we'll probably do is, test multiple headlines, test 2 or 3 versions of the entire campaign, like the 4 to 6 emails. We're going to make a duplicate. So there's actually like 2 full sequences that we're A/B testing to see which one converts at a higher rate. So it's pretty powerful, right? I think the key for email outreach is number 1, can you get a pretty good list of emails? And then secondly, how good is the content, right? And then there's a lot of software. So there's also software out there that will help you do the same on LinkedIn. Sergey actually pointed me to this tool called LinkedHelper, which I can add to the show notes as well. I'm pretty sure it's against TOS, so be careful, fair warning to everybody who's watching or listening. But there are tools out there that will let you do cold outreach on LinkedIn in a flow as well, right? So you can send like invite with custom notes and then follow-up messages, right? Like it's an email sequence, but on LinkedIn, again, which can be very powerful if you have a very defined audience and you can come up with a good list of target people, right? So like in your case, you could go on LinkedIn and, you know, especially if you have LinkedIn Premium or whatever the heck it's called, Sales Nav, you could get a list of like, I don't know, 1,000, 5,000 SaaS founders and send a custom campaign. Hey, John Smith, I see, you know, you're working in this industry. Was wondering if you needed, you know, whatever your pitch is. So we're definitely going to get the email going. I don't know about LinkedIn. I'll let you guys know in the next episode. But it's pretty powerful stuff if you can get it up and running.
Nice.
So that'll be...
Is that tool a paid tool? The LinkedHelper?
Yes. But it's pretty cheap. I think it's something like $15-20 a month. So it's like very reasonable, right? You get one client and it pays for it for a couple of years, well, depending on the value of your client, obviously. But yeah, it's really good. I've used it in the past. Again, you want to be careful, and it has built-in settings, right? And the reason why it's cool is it kind of like randomizes actions to basically pretend like it's a human, right? Mm-hmm. So you make the settings like, you know, here's the max number of people I want to reach out to in an hour. And it kind of goes through, it's basically a robot running your LinkedIn, and it's random, right? So it'll take random amounts of time to click on different actions. Anyways, check it out if you're interested. Again, be careful because, you know, it's probably against TOS. So you didn't hear it from me. But anyways, I'm going to keep the 20 outreach per day.
Nice.
But I'm probably going to shift more to cold calling. Put in brackets, cold calling. And so the reason for this is we're going to be automating the email and potentially LinkedIn outreach. So I'm going to focus on cold calling, which cannot be the most fun thing in the world. But once you get into a rhythm, I don't know how many of you folks out there have done cold calling, but I find the hardest part is just making the first call. If you have a good list of numbers, once you make that first one or two calls, get those first one or two rejections out of the way, then you can get into a good rhythm. But yes.
What's the average reaction that you get from those, and what's the worst reaction that you ever got?
I mean, that's the thing, right? You get afraid, but the worst thing is like, I'm not interested. Don't call me again. And you hang up, and you're like, okay, that sucked, but whatever. I'm still breathing, right? So. I think most cold outreach comes down to how good is your list and how good is your messaging. It's just those two things, right? If you have a list of your target market and then you make it very clear right away what problem you're solving, what pain point you're solving, what value you're adding, then they're just going to say yes or no. And then you can move on with your day. Hopefully people say yes. You're going to get a lot of no's, right? It's a great humbling experience, right? Especially if you're like young and cocky or whatever. It's a very, very humbling experience to do cold calls. So
I'm curious, when you start speaking to these people, I'm thinking from the perspective of copywriting, right? When you have to think about like what do they know already of what you're about to share, their awareness, sophistication stage. So where are these people that you call? Like, do they know of solutions like the one you are offering?
Not really.
Some education? Not
really, in the sense that there's not much competition for what we're doing from a technology. So I'm selling technology, right? So it's a little bit different from a service-based offering. But in our case, it's like my first question is usually qualifying, right? Hey, do you do this type of immigration? Mm-hmm. If they don't, they can't. They're not going to use our tool anyways. I just say, okay, thanks. Have a nice day. If they do, Then it's about pitching whether they, are interested in the value that we provide, right? So number one, to qualify, and then number two, hey, are you looking for this? So in your case, it could be, hey, are you a SaaS founder? Whatever, your key target is. And if they say yes, be like, hey, are you interested? And then it's your main value prop, right? You got to get right to it. It's like, hey, are you interested in increasing conversions on your website? Have you recently updated the text or copy on your website? Maybe assume that they don't even know what copy means, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, have you updated the text or copy on your website recently? Well, actually, right, we've been, and then you just go off of what they say, right? Well, actually, our conversion rates have been down. I'd be interested to learn more, right? And then the key of the cold call is typically, if you can have a full conversation right there, great. If not, try to schedule a longer conversation, right? Especially if they're busy, they seem like they're in a rush. Okay, cool. Can we book a 20-minute call on Thursday at 4 p.m. or whatever? And you try to get their email, and or if you have their phone number, so you can just. What I like to do is do a demo, because we're trying to show them how our technology works. So I try to get the email and do like a video call like we're doing on Zoom right now for those that are watching this on YouTube. But, in your case, it could be an intro call. Hey, great. Seems like you're in a rush. Do you have 15 minutes to talk on Wednesday at 3 p.m. and I can tell you a little bit more about how we can help increase your conversion rates? You know what I mean? So keep it like super casual, no pressure, not salesy. And see what happens.
Yeah, nice.
So
it's also probably pretty helpful for you, because asking the qualifying question helps you collect some data and input, so you can kind of start thinking about, are these leads actual good leads? Are they a fit, or should I change the target? So yeah, it's a pretty good approach.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you know how it goes. I mean, I've done cold calling in the past. It's pretty much like, can you get to your main value prop ASAP, and then do they want it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's it. Anyways, I'll report back in 2 weeks. And then lastly, I need to finish the SG website. So my first two goals are Visto related, and then my last goal on the Solopreneur Grind side is about half of the. So I ended up hiring someone to update the SG website, thanks to your recommendation. And
to ask.
Yeah, so she's done like 2 pages. There's 1 or 2 more. The first one looks I really like the homepage. So hopefully by the time everybody hears this, my website, the solopreneurgrind.com website, will be updated, and it'll look a lot nicer, a lot simpler, cleaner. And I want to update the join page. And then when that's updated, I'll start doing some more growth stuff like you're doing with your email list, and I'll start doing it with mine. So I want to finish the website, and kind of in brackets, I'll put like, including join page and key messaging. So like the other thing I want to do is update the join page text, go through my different social media profiles, update those a little bit so they all kind of like have similar language and everything's flowing well. So like, for example, when we post an episode like this, or I post something on TikTok and people are like, oh yeah, I want to learn more, the text in my profile matches, and then they click it and it flows well to the text on my website. So anyways, those are the key goals for...
Consistency is super important for branding.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's it, and then from there I'll shift to more. I want to keep growing the newsletter, because the numbers look good for me. I don't know about you. I'd be interested to hear. Maybe this is something we can quickly talk about as we're almost at the 30-minute mark. But anyways, my open rates have been very good, right? So Chris and I each have a daily email newsletter. I'm Monday to Friday. You're Monday to Friday too, right? Do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Monday to Friday. And I've been getting like 35-40% open rates. So what I'm writing in the emails seems to be interesting to people. So that's a good thing. I just haven't done a great job of growing the list bigger. So I want to get that join page updated and improved, and then focus more on growing the list. What about you? What have you been seeing, especially as you've been growing yours a little bit more in the last couple of weeks?
I really like that now I'm seeing more engagement. So
Nice.
and it's also a great way to come up with ideas, right? Because when you start getting feedback, your mind starts working on like new solutions, new things to do with your list. So it's been a great source of like creativity as well for me. So lots of things to plan, like the giveaway and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I still see it's not automatic in the sense that it's not that you run a sponsorship and then boom, your list start spreading automatically. It's probably because I'm still at the early stage, so people are not super incentivized to spread the word on their own, right? So you still see that there's like input corresponds to output now. It's not input corresponds to 10x the output. It's still a linear correlation. But I mean, it's like everything, like at the early stage, you have to put in the work, right, to make it grow and get it to the point where you want it. So for now, it's a lot of exploration. I didn't know anything about giveaways or cross promotion or sponsorships before, like even before, like even 2 weeks ago. So lots of learning, which I think is the most important thing that you can do at the early stage. Learning and experimenting.
And the grind. It's the grind, right? It's why we use the name.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it'll be exciting to see. I also find as you start to get some replies, it makes for great content, right? Like I love the Ben Settle style where like he'll just write an email and he'll just paste an email that he got from a subscriber and then answer it, right? It's just it's so easy. I've been doing that on TikTok. That's pretty much my whole TikTok account.
Yeah.
Is just I quote a comment from a recent video and answer it. It's the easiest way because the user generated content is so good because at least one of your followers wants that question answered. And if one of them does, probably more than one does, right? So
cool. I've actually, speaking of ideas and daily email, I've actually been asking my list whether they would like an extra email a week on Sundays, like a digest, basically with all the links to the daily emails. And I got a couple of responses, so I think I'm gonna do it, which is just going to be basically assigning to my assistant to collect all the links to my emails. And I'll probably add to it. I'll have her prepare the email with links, and then I'll probably just add to it a couple of lessons from my Sunday weekly review that I always do in any case. So just gonna be a simple value add and also an extra touch with these people that I can add like every week. So it doesn't cost me much.
What I would suggest there is, and this is interesting because this is something someone suggested me last week, is actually have that as a separate list, because you might also have maybe the people who you have a monthly one too, right?
No, I canceled the monthly.
Oh, you canceled? So you should have this as a separate list, which like for example, I just check your email in the morning. I don't need a digest on Sunday. So I wouldn't opt in if I had the option, and I would probably just delete it if I got it on Sunday. But you can make a separate list, and this could be people who are already on your list that want the digest, or people who are interested in your digest who don't want your daily email. That's how I would do it. I might do something similar where once every 2 weeks or once a month, because especially as I start running more like in-person networking events and stuff, some people just want to know about that, but they don't want my daily email. So I would do it as a separate list if it makes sense for you, which sounds like it probably would.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that first email to everybody, but in the first email, allowing them to unsubscribe from that specific Sunday list. So I maximize opportunities, but still filter people.
And then you can build that onto your website or even your flow of onboarding, where it's like, hey, if you don't want my daily emails, but you want my digest, just sign up to this.
I'll add it to my welcome sequence.
Cool.
I'm taking note of that.
Want to quickly end with what we're reading?
Yeah, sure.
I'll go first while you're typing. So I finished.
Yeah.
I think in the last episode I talked about the Ray Kroc book, Grinding It Out. I think now it's back on my bookshelf behind me for those watching on YouTube. Great book. Have you read it, Grinding It Out by Ray Kroc?
No, I actually got it, but
oh, nice. It's basically a memoir. He wrote it in like 78 or 79. Like, it's an old book.
Wow.
But it's great. I think you'll like it. It lives up to the name, Grinding It Out. Like, this guy was he's a hard worker. Was a hard worker. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But I think it's right up there with like the Shoe Dogs of the world. Like, a great book written by a hardworking, successful entrepreneur, and he really gives you a good insight into the journey and how hard it was and whatever. So it was really cool. Highly recommended. And right now I'm in the middle of, I guess when we do this show, like, the odds that we finish a book like the day before is so low. So it's probably going to be like me telling you what I finished a week or two ago and telling you what I'm in the middle of right now. But anyway, so I finished Ray Kroc about a week ago, Grinding It Out. Highly recommended. I'll throw it in the show notes.
If you had one lesson out of the book, what would you say that is your main takeaway?
That's a good question. I think I actually, in one of my daily emails, I summarized some of the key takeaways. So definitely join my email list, solopreneurgrind.com, if you want to get those as I kind of finish the books and they're fresh in my head. There are a lot of takeaways from that book. Again, like, a lot of overlap with Shoe Dog, but also extremely entertaining. I would say probably the biggest one, maybe not the biggest one, but the one that's most unique to his story is, like, don't pressure or rush yourself in entrepreneurship, because he was in his early 50s when he finally got involved with McDonald's. He didn't even start it, right? McDonald's was started by two brothers, the McDonald's brothers, somewhere in California. And he went and found it or discovered it and then was like, hey, let's take this thing worldwide. And they were like, no, we just want to friggin' chill and, sit on our porch at night and go to bed early, which is totally fine. But yeah, he grinded for decades as a salesman, and he didn't start McDonald's till his 50s. And there's some interesting stats out there about how the average successful entrepreneur is actually in their like 30s or 40s, right? So guys like us, guys or girls that are listening, maybe on the younger end, don't put too much pressure on yourself, because the statistics support that a lot of these successful entrepreneurs are actually starting their businesses, or the businesses they start that are successful are usually started when they're a little bit older, right? So it doesn't mean don't start a business when you're young, because there's lots to learn, and who knows, right? Like, you look at, especially in the tech world, like the Zuckerbergs, I mean, that's obviously an outlier, but it doesn't mean you can't be successful when you're young. But and this is going to segue into what I'm reading right now. As Gary Vee says, like, you have a lot of time, right? And don't put too much pressure on yourself, especially when you're very young. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm reading Crushing It by Gary Vee, which is the second time I'm reading it. A lot of my books I read at least twice if they're good, and I'll read them every couple years or whatever. Crushing It, I think I first read it maybe 2 years ago. Really good book if you are trying to build a personal brand and or leverage social media to create content. I'll talk more about it when I finish, so in the next episode. But it's not rocket science. A lot of the information is pretty straightforward. It's well written, and he also shares stories. So it's called Crushing It because he wrote a book originally called Crush It in like 2010, where he kind of talks about using social media, the different platforms, whatever. And in this updated version of the book, Crushing It, he's updated a lot of the info because the platforms have obviously evolved. And he also shares stories of people who read Crush It and applied what they learned and are now crushing it. And so he shares a whole bunch of like real world examples. Really good read, highly recommended, especially if you're into social media and personal brand building. And that's it.
Nice. I think I've actually got that Crush It book like 7 years ago.
Oh yeah? I'm just gonna write the book names.
I was at the beginning, my journey, and wasn't really relevant at all. But it was maybe the first few chapters are helpful to put everything in perspective and kind of the work that you have to put into.
I think now would probably be a better time for you to read it, to be honest, because you're so focused on this content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you should consider it. What about you?
On my side, I finished. This is really cool, short read. It's called "What I Learned Losing $1 Million" by Jim Paul, and it's basically the story of this trader guy, Wall Street trader, who basically accumulated a fortune and then lost it all. And a couple of lessons. I think actually Tim Ferriss bought the rights, and at the end of the audiobook, there's kind of like a podcast with Tim Ferriss and the writer of the book, which is really nice. But the main lessons, I would say a couple of lessons. Is the first one. It's basically that studying losses, it's more important than studying people who make money and how they make money. So he says studying like losing and how not to lose is more important than studying how to make money. And that's because there's a lot of people who can have success in different areas in all different ways, but whenever you hear about those people, you only learn about the successes, and you're blind to everything that can make you fail, which is a lot more than the rare occasions of success.
Right.
And one of the main causes of loss, failure, he says that it's personalizing success. So whenever you're succeeding, you're kind of like in your own bubble, everything is working really well, you tend to personalize success. So you see success as like your own skill set. You don't consider the luck that went into it, or the serendipity, all the different factors that don't depend on you that brought you to this success. And then when you lose everything, you realize how much of it was in your control. So these are pretty powerful lessons. Also, like, emotions are not good nor bad, but emotionalism, he calls it, is bad, which means kind of
being too emotional.
Interpreting, like, emotions are not bad in themselves, but interpreting your emotions as something bad or good, that's kind of the thing that ruins you. So
right.
Being in control of your emotions, in a way.
Right.
Yeah. So this was pretty good, and also quite short read or listen. So I would recommend it.
Cool. I think there's a stat or like studies out there that people claim success to be their fault, quote unquote, more often than not, versus they tend to blame failures on external factors. I've read of that before. I don't remember where, but anyways, it's interesting. It's a great title too, so I'll have to check it out. I'll mention that in the show notes. Awesome. I think that's it for today then. So we'll include a summary in the description. We'll include the show notes. We reference some of these tools, so I'll throw them in there. And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. We do this live as well on YouTube, so if anybody's interested ever in tuning in live, make sure to just follow the Solopreneur Grind YouTube channel every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Well, morning if you're in or around the Eastern time zone. And then push to YouTube, stays on YouTube, and podcast platforms, of course. And we're starting to post some snippets of the episode on TikTok and Shorts and stuff like that as well. So anyways, if you like this, please make sure to like, subscribe, share with the friends, share with the family, all that kind of stuff. And that's it. Chris, any last words?
No, all good. Let's grind it out, man.
Let's keep it going.
In 2 weeks.
Sounds good. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good one.